Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Petrie. Petrie is from Scotland in the UK. So let's see what Petrie has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, hello, Petrie. How are you?
Yes, not too bad yourself.
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, not an issue at all. Thank you for having me.
So, tell me, how was your day today?
It's been all right. It's been mostly it's been a chill day. A couple of clients in the morning, and then a couple of clients tonight, and then kind of in an interview with yourself. My day's always sort of split in the mornings and the
Mm,
evenings, so and then school
right.
pick up in the afternoon. So just typical Wednesday as it goes.
So, tell me, what has been the highlight of your week so far?
The highlight of my week so far. So it's kind of been an interesting week actually because I had a competition on Sunday for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu at ADCC. So this
Wow.
has been my first week to not have to worry about my diet in a while, and my eating and stuff like that because I had like a weight cut and stuff like that to do. So to be honest with you, the highlight of my week has been eating cheesecake.
I love it. I love it. But this coach, fitness trainer to say something like that, it's amazing. I love to hear. Actually, you say about the jiu-jitsu. I'm from Brazil, and jiu-jitsu it's so big in Brazil, always been. I remember back in Brazil growing up, there was always jiu-jitsu. And when I started living in Europe and I could see people talking about, see, I said, my God, it's interesting to see jiu-jitsu here. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
since when you start training jiu-jitsu?
So when people ask me that question, it's actually kind of a hard question to answer. So to specifically say when did I start training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it was probably only a year and a half ago. But to say when did I start training in any form of martial arts, like it's kind of funny because way back in like maybe 2013, no, maybe 2013, I would say, I started doing a little bit of boxing and then I found this gym that done MMA, but it wasn't really real MMA. It was a bunch of dudes who met up in a gym once a week and fought each other, right? Do you know what I mean? And then I kind of went into sort of MMA grappling, so more of like a wrestling submission grappling kind of element, and then sort of uni hit, college hit, uni hit, kids hit. I had a long streak where I've just did kickboxing only. I only did K1 kickboxing for about 4 years. And then my actual first Brazilian Jiu Jitsu class, technically, was just like a year and a half ago. So this last year and a half has just been strict Brazilian Jiu Jitsu only, no kickboxing, no nothing. I got my blue belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu about 3 weeks ago. So I
Oh, wow.
just managed to get up to there. And then my
Congratulations.
goal, thank you very much. So my goal for the end of the year effectively is I've got all my striking that I've done from kickboxing. I've now got my blue belt. Let's put it all together now and get my first proper MMA fight at the end of the year. That's the goal anyway.
That's amazing. Oh, wow. It's amazing to hear people, put themselves, challenge themselves in different areas, different ways. And I think that's about life, it's about us challenge ourselves, explore different areas, different sports, and you can find a beauty there. There's always a beauty behind. I love that for sure.
Yeah. And it is for sure. Like a beauty is one of those things because like it's a skill, but it's a hobby, but then it's a discipline as well. Like, all the kind of elements of it come into one. It's not just fun, it's not just aggressive, it's not just hard. It's like
So,
you bring it all together and then effectively any combat sport I would say is like that. I wouldn't just necessarily say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just all of them are like that.
have you heard about capoeira?
Capoeira, yeah. So it's like the
Yeah,
dance martial art, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing. So tell me where you're from, Petrie.
So I'm from Arbroath in Scotland. So it's basically the northeast of Scotland. I say it's a small fishing town on the northeast of Scotland, but effectively the Declaration of Independence of Scotland happened in my town. Like we've got an old castle, I guess you would call it, called the Arbroath Abbey, and that's where Robert the Bruce signed the Declaration of Independence for Scotland over 100 years ago. Obviously, we
Wow.
don't have that anymore. So although there's not really much of a going on now, the history is still very much rich, basically. They say that the birthplace of Scotland happened in Angus. So Angus is the county, obviously Arbroath is the town. They say that that's the birthplace of Scotland. So other than the history, not much else actually happens here, to be honest.
And how far are you from Glasgow?
Opposite end. So Glasgow's on the west coast. I'm on the east coast. So I think it's 100 miles maybe, or something like that, just over 100 miles. So it's literally like West Coast versus East Coast. Like, do you know what I mean? Although Glasgow isn't completely on the West Coast, we still call them Westerners. They're from the West. Like, do you know what I mean? So
What's the biggest joy of waking up in Scotland every morning?
the hope that we might get a bit of sun. No, I think where I live, like, I don't know. I feel like we take a lot for granted where I live. Like, I say this to you now, I understand that, but I don't recognize it every day. Like, I feel like where we live, there's a lot of open air. There's a lot of beauty within how the Arbroath Abbey looks. Within, like, we've got down at the seafront, we've got the cliffs. Like, it's a big nature walk that goes along the cliffs. Like, that's so nice to look at. But when you've done it 10, 20, 30 times over your life, you don't appreciate it as much, and then you wonder why people come over and go, "Oh, it's so
Yeah,
great here. It must be amazing living here." And I'm like, "Well, maybe, but like when in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, no, actually, you know what? It is really nice to look at. Arbroath's very still old timey. It's still very like old timey, stuck in the past, kind of the way it looks, and I think I kind of like that. So I think to say the best thing about waking up in Scotland is, yeah, freedom. Is that what I meant to say? That's what we're supposed to say, isn't it?
love it. Okay, Peter, let's start the interview talking about your career as a fitness coach. So tell me a little bit how everything started.
So it's kind of an interesting one again. Like I would almost say I fell into it because I
Mhm.
remember. So school wasn't for me. I left school as soon as I turned 16. I left with the lowest of the low grades, not because I was stupid or I wasn't smart. It was just I just didn't go to school, so therefore they couldn't give me higher grades. And as soon as I left school, I went into. So I didn't even finish it. I just left as soon as I was 16, and I joined a hospitality course because it was the easiest. It was like all I have to do is bake basic foods and serve coffees, and I got paid to do that to be a student. And I got halfway through the year and realized, why didn't I go and do a sport and fitness course? Like I enjoy, I was a bit of a niche kind of sport and fitness guy. I didn't like football. I didn't like team sports. So I like when I was younger, I liked skateboarding, BMX, and free running, parkour, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I enjoy doing that. So why didn't I just go to college and do that? And then eventually, you go into college, so it's sport and fitness. You do it all. You do all the sports. You do all the fitness. But then eventually, when you get to your higher education, you've got to make a decision. Do you want to
Mhm.
coach more sports or do you want to go into health and fitness? And basically, my theory at the time was I don't want to teach any more kids football. That was my theory. So that pushed me into the kind of health and fitness side. And then I still didn't even know what a personal trainer was. I remember getting halfway through my course, and my lecturer was like, "Oh, so at the end of the year, you do this personal trainer course. You pay an extra fee for it, and then this is what it does." And I was like, "Oh, so you're telling me I can just get paid to like help people change their lives in the gym?" I was like, "Sign me up!" Like, you know what I mean? That sounds amazing. And effectively, it's been a back and forth. I finished college, took a year out, done a regular job at a hotel, like at a leisure centre, done some night shift in a bakery on a Saturday night, so that's fun. And my college lecturer phoned me back up and was like, "We're doing another course. This is the first time we've ever done it. Do you want to come back and effectively be our guinea pig on how this course works?" And then we got hit with a cyber attack where someone held ransom the entire college database for money, believe it or not, and deleted everything. And then COVID hit, and then obviously everyone, I'm sure by now you have these conversations. COVID pops up in the conversation somewhere. It's funny how our lives are now defined by before COVID or after COVID.
Totally, it's so interesting.
Um,
Yeah, totally.
and then basically I had another year out, and then I was like, why don't I just go to uni? Why didn't I go to uni? So I
Mhm.
went into university. I got my strength and conditioning degree in 2023. And then basically since 2023, this has now been my sort of full-time job. Like this is all I've done now. And it really has, like, I've really niched out into sort of a character, a client of like, I'm trying to reflect myself into who I look for. You know,
Yeah.
busy parent, you know, has their own self-employment job, or at least is very hardworking, has this goal, maybe involved in sport, maybe involved in just some sort of fitness, and they're trying to project that into them. And that's kind of what took me there. But ultimately, the thing that keeps me here is I just get to work for myself. Ultimately, I think that's what keeps me here. I get to work for myself. I get to connect with so many amazing people. I get to help so many amazing people, and I get paid to do it. It's one of those things. I get paid to do what I love. Basically, is kind of where I am now.
It's amazing for you to be able to to perform and do what you meant to be doing, what brings the best of you. I think that's what I think all of us, we are striving for that. We are trying to find a way. And when you do go like, oh my God, it's amazing to have this feeling. Petrie, so I start asking my guests on the show, in the interview, if they can bring anything to the show. Could be a gift, an object, a picture, something that means a lot to them. It's something that you could share.
Yeah, yeah. Have a look at there. So this video will be released obviously after I tell my wife this, so she'll not know this right now because it's tomorrow. So it's my wife's anniversary tomorrow, so I printed out a couple of photos, but I can share this photo here. I'm in my office right now, so I've hidden it all in my office. But by the time she sees this, she's going to know anyway. So basically, I've got. Oh, you can't see that. It's going to be blurry, isn't it? Oh no, here we go. So
Put a bit closer. Yeah, I can see now.
there we go. So basically, this is a photo. It's going to keep trying to blur, isn't it? This is a photo of me and my wife after I fought for the Scottish title in kickboxing. And basically, I just kind of like to share that photo. I've kind of written actually on. You're not going to be able to read my handwriting, but I've actually written on the back to put in our anniversary wedding box to say that like it's so important to have someone by your side. Like this. I think this photo just marks like I was some of the healthiest I've ever been, some of the fittest I've ever been. I've been able to do this sport of effectively fighting a man in the cage who we both want to hurt each other. But my wife's sitting right there, probably freaking out, not liking it. She doesn't like it, but she will stand by me the whole time because I know that the entire time through that, she's made my meals. She's made sure that my training bag was always ready. She's allowed me to go out and explore all these things while she stays home and looks after the kids. This is totally an agreed thing that we've done. And I think I love that photo because it shows that if you have someone right by your side, like anything is possible, and you may hit barriers, you may hit situations in life, but to have that person by your side, like, is so important. And I met her, I've actually known her basically since I was a baby. So like it's been such a long journey. So we went to primary school, like nursery together, and then I left school. We moved house, so I left, and we met each other again when we were like 14 years old. I'm 28 now, and we're still together. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think just to literally show that this entire journey I've been through of my career, she's literally been there almost since day one. So I think that photo is just kind of one of those things to just be like, here's me, just had a big fight where I've just been fighting another man that have, you know what I mean? Like, and then she's kind of been there through that whole time with me. So yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet, Peter. I think you said something very important. I think we never get anywhere alone. There's always, we need to have people around us to support us, to be by our side, to tell us off if needed, to tell us you're doing a great job. And I think, my God, your wife, and I'm sure she means a lot. Everything what she said or what she still says, I'm sure you take it because, it's part of you. She's literally navigating life with you by your side, and I think it's amazing. So tomorrow you are celebrating anniversary tomorrow.
Yeah, so it's our 5-year wedding anniversary tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh my God! Oh, that's so sweet.
So what I've done is I've printed out sort of 5 photos and then written a note on the back of each photo based on what that moment is and like kind of how I felt in that moment. So like she doesn't know obviously, but she's not going to see it until after this anyway. So.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps now. You're talking about those pictures and you write behind. That's so kind. That's so sweet, Peter. I think it's amazing. And I'm sure she'll appreciate that for sure. Wow, I love this story. Thanks for bringing this picture. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not the most romantic. No, thank you very much. I'm not the most romantic. So this is me trying to try now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Being romantic is not about big, gifts or big moments. It's just about something that comes from your heart. Sometimes when you do something so simple, I think people nowadays with the world we live right now, and when someone take their time to do something so meaningful, something so simple, it touches our hearts. So trust me, I just seeing you talking about it, and it's just very inspiring actually. Imagine people watching this interview right now and they, it's just giving let's say ideas for people to make some notes or just to come up with these pictures. That's moments that always going to be there. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Very personal.
So if you are watching this, don't overcomplicate it. It's not worth it. Be simple. You know what I mean? Like that's my kind of, I'm maybe 13, 14 years too deep to realize it now, but it's simple. It doesn't need to be these big gifts, like you say. It doesn't need to be these huge things. It's the meaningful things.
100%. And those moments, because I think people, they never forget how you make them feel. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And those things, it touch their hearts, touch people's hearts when someone take their time to do something so simple. And sometimes you think, oh, it's so simple, but actually for the other person must be, it could be something so big, and they appreciate that for sure. Wow, amazing. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. From the fun questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question, okay? Let's do it. Right, before I start the interview, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about or you don't want to answer, always can take another one, okay? Amazing. First question is, what is a negative thing that happened to you that came out as a positive thing in the end?
So this literally happened yesterday. I was telling you sort of at the start there that I had an issue with my laptop recently. So maybe not quite the answer you're looking for, but this is the first thing that pops in my head was my laptop hit some sort of malware issue in Chrome, and my laptop decided to do a factory reset, and I didn't choose to do that. It deleted all my stuff off of it, my whole flow, my whole everything, and I've literally sat for a while trying to get everything back to normal, and I have. But the system I have now is 10 times better than the system I had before. And I know it might not seem like the answer you were looking for, but it's been on my head ever since this competition and that happened. I'm like, damn, this is the first thing that's like, it's frustrated the hell out of me. It's the first, you know what I mean? I'm like, that it's one of those things. So all that cheesecake hasn't been keeping me happy enough to try and make sure I get this done. But so basically, yeah, that's basically I've basically now got a system in place. Like I'm even looking at it in my screen up here and going like, man, that looks so much better. So it's almost like a silver lining, like it was, I was forced into a reset that has came out more stronger, and hopefully the flow in future, provides better for me and my clients.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, just trust the process. Sometimes you get so annoyed, and I understand we have our routine, we have our thing that gets used to, and sometimes we do things happen, we just don't know what to do. And suddenly, when you see the big picture afterwards, you go like, you know what? Now I understand why. So it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that, what's the meaning of life for you when you think about life?
I don't know. That's always a big question, isn't it? So, what's the meaning? What's the meaning of life for me? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think
Yeah.
when you think about life? What's the meaning of it?
So, I mean, it's definitely. I'm a very people person in the least people person way. It's kind of funny. I don't come across that way, but then obviously considering what my job is, it's very much a people person thing. Like, do you know what I mean? So, I think is ultimately to help people, to support people. I think that's a big thing, is to be able to, we're obviously all here for our own selfish reasons. We all want to thrive, we all want to move forward in life, but it's also being able to support other people along the way. I think that's a big thing, to always help each other, to always make sure that you don't save it all for yourself. And I think
Mm-hmm.
ultimately that's kind of the way I see it. It's like, we all know at the end of the day, like, it comes to an end. You know what I mean? Like, it's the acceptance of that. There's a big philosopher that I used to listen to quite a lot called Alan Watts. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Yeah.
So he obviously talks about like the meaning of life, the acceptance of death, all these kind of things. And it's like, what's the big quote he says is like, change and everything is changed. Nothing can be held on to, So it's all about going down a river. If you stand still in a river, everything passes you and you miss it. Whereas if you just
Yeah.
go with the river, literally like what happened today, I just went like, you know what, my laptop's reset. What am I going to do? And I've come out at the better end, and it looks so good. And I think ultimately, if you bring along good people with you, and I have a very small circle, like a very very small circle, like they also bring it back to you. I believe in you do good things will come back to you, like the good karma and stuff like that. So, yeah, I know that was kind of a washed out answer there, but yeah.
No, totally. I think life is about that. Everything was just said, I agree. It's very personal the way you approach life. I think all of us, we are here navigating through it. Get it? Next question. Let's do it. Okay, next question for you is, what will be the title of your memoir?
Title. Oof. That's a hard one. it would probably be, you know how normally people would say, like, yeah, okay, I guess normally people would say I'm a lover, not a fighter. Normally people would say that. Mine would probably be I'm a lover and a fighter. Literally, figuratively, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's literally, I'm literally a lover because I have a wife. You know, figuratively, I love things and I also love my family. But then I fight because I go through hardship.
Mhm.
But I literally fight. Like, it's literally also what I do as a fighter. Um, so it's not a lover. I'm a lover, not a fighter. It's I'm a lover and a fighter, probably something along the lines of that kind of.
And when people read your memoir, read the book of your life, what's something about it that you'd like people to take with them?
Um, what would people want to take with them from it? I guess it would be something around that failure only exists when you stop trying.
Mhm.
I would say that's a big one. I've had a lot of moments where we've had a lot. Well, me and my wife have had a lot of moments through our life where we've had issues with our kids. We've had issues as a relationship. We've had issues
Of
outside the
course.
family. But I've actually I've said this recently to my wife that although we go through a lot of barriers, although we go through a lot of hardships, we always get the result in the end. And that was
Mhm.
because we never stopped trying. We always made sure that if this didn't work, you try something else, you analyze, you adapt, you move on from it. So I would say failure, that's the one thing they would take from that is failure only happens when you stop trying, not when you like it doesn't mean that you failed just because it didn't work out. If you just stop trying altogether, then you failed. That would probably be the biggest thing that would take from that.
Amazing. Okay, next question. Let's do it. Right. Before the next question, what's the biggest joy of being a fitness coach? And actually, when I was reading your profile, you mentioned that about helping parents. Yeah, and of course, you are a parent, and I believe that it's so about based on your routine as well about your fitness journey. So, what do you like the most about being a fitness coach?
So, I mean, I kind of touched on it earlier. It's literally just about being able to help people. I feel like one of the biggest things I've been sort of finding out in this sort of job is there isn't a lack of knowledge. People tell me I don't know what to do. I'm like, you can type into Google exercises for parents and you'll get about 8 million research answers will come up. But it's the problem is finding out which one is right for you. Which one should I do? Not what this young TikTok 19-year-old boy is telling me, not what these 8 million searchers are, what should I do? So I think being able to sit down with someone and like help them understand that like none of these are right for you because they're not made for you. So I think, when I see a client sort of sit down, start working through their program, and then start actioning their program, and they realize, oh, actually, this is the right one for me. So it's to know that I've clicked with that person and help them understand what is right for them. And then that's probably the biggest thing. And then obviously they get the results, they get all the success that they come from that, and that's the obvious answer is the results they get at the end. That's the obvious answer. But I think for me, it's being able to then change their mindset that gets them that result rather than the result itself.
I see. All right. Next question is, if you could instantly master a new skill, what that would be and why?
A new skill. As in, I've never even touched any of it ever. It's brand new, never done it before.
Yeah, something that's
Um,
interested to somehow, get into it and be a master.
So one thing that I've always said to myself that I want to get involved in, and I've maybe looked at a little bit of it, but I've never actually tried to learn the skill, probably would actually be going into sort of like investments, stocks and shares, looking at ISA cash, like cash ISAs. I've touched on it very briefly, but I've never sat down and learned actually how to do it. You get the is it ETF exchange, the exchange trade funds and stuff like that as well, the ETFs and going down that avenue of sort of things. I think that's my sort of next big step in life is to learn that. So it's not that if I could, it's more of a I will eventually.
What's the biggest joy of being Petrie? What do you like the most about being you?
Being me, I would say knowing that I get to go home every night to my wife and kids.
Oh, that's sweet.
Even though the kids are asleep half the time when I go home, but it's the point still remains.
I find it so sweet when I start talking, we start connecting, and you're like, "Oh, really? I've got this with my kids. I've got this with my kids." So, oh my God, it's so good to see someone prioritizing their kids, the timing and everything. I love that. What the biggest joy of being a dad?
Biggest joy being a dad, I guess it's just seeing sort of the kids growing up. I've got two daughters, so I've never had the joy of being able to sort of like, every dad wants a son that grows up like them and becomes like them and stuff like that. And although I've not had the joy of doing that, I would never change it for the world, obviously. But it's definitely, again, it's the joy. You know what I mean? So my youngest daughter is we're currently going through autism assessment. She's completely non-verbal. She's 3 years old and she doesn't speak a single word. But even in her expression, you can still tell when she's happy, even though she doesn't verbalize it, she doesn't say it. So I think, although my oldest one's pushing a lot of buttons just now, it's still great to. She's 7 years old. It's still great to see those smiles. I think that's always the most important thing. Is seeing the smiles is definitely a big thing.
And so far, through those years since you became a dad, what has been the most meaningful lesson you've learned from them?
It's never the right time.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because I think basically since we were 18 years old, my wife kept telling me we want to have kids, and I agreed. I was like, yeah, we will have kids. I think this is great. And then I was like, but I want to get through college first. And
Uh-huh.
then I was like, but then I want to get through uni after that. And then all of a sudden, everything would have came after that. But I was 20 years old. My oldest was due on my 21st birthday, but she actually came 2 weeks. Yeah, she came 2 weeks early, thankfully. So I get my birthday to myself still. And I just got to the point where I basically went like, okay, now it's time. I'm not ready, but it's time. But if I'm honest with you, if we never did it and I still said I was waiting for the right time today, I still wouldn't be ready
Totally
because
agree.
I'm still building my business. I'm still trying to have a fight career. I'm still doing all these things. So I still wouldn't be ready. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is it's never the right time. Like if you can do something in your life through when it's the messiest, when it's the hardest, you're going to be able to do it at any point in your life. Why would you want to learn to do something through an easy point in your life? Because then you're only going to do that thing when life is easy. You're never going to do that thing when life is hard. And that's sort of been a big sort of process for me throughout all this.
Wow, amazing. Very good. 3 questions left. Let's do it. Right. Before that, of course, my God, tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow start the World Cup. Yeah. And I know that Scotland is the same group with Brazil.
Oh, yes.
Do, for you, it's kind of, do you like, watching the World Cup, this event? How do you see that?
So I've never been. I mean, I'm from Scotland. Of course, we grew up in football. There's always football surrounded by us. Like I can't even like I literally leave the town and we drive past. I say a stadium. We've got a little thing and stuff like that. Fun fact: our stadium, I guess we'll call it, or our pitch, is the closest pitch to the sea in all of Europe. So there's a lot of fun fact. It's
Wow.
literally right at the sea. There's maybe 10 meters between our pitch and the sea, maybe 20 meters. Yeah, it's very close. Anyway,
You made my day. I learned something new. I didn't know that.
there
See?
you go. Arbroath Stadium, Arbroath FC. But basically, I don't know. I think like I don't follow football. I think I've always enjoyed taking part in football more than I have watching it. But
Okay.
for whatever reason, I might just be a little bit patriotic. But I'll always, if Scotland's involved and they're doing well, I'm going to be okay. Let's see what's happening. So I
Right.
also do know that we've got. Like I've looked, I've done my research. I've looked. I know we've got Morocco, Haiti, and obviously we've got yourselves with Brazil. And I'm like, you know what? I think we've got a good chance of at least coming second in that in that bracket. But I couldn't tell you the players. I couldn't tell you who's actually. I know one Andy Robertson. There we go. There's a player. Like you know what I mean.
I'm the same as well. I'm from Brazil, of course. I grew up with football all my life, and I know about it. But I like to watch these big events like World Cup, Euro Cup or Olympics. I love watching. But for me, it's good to see the country, every country cheering up for their supporting people getting together and all this. And it's amazing, for me, living in London and see different nationalities, people getting together. It's just amazing. I love those events. And of course, I want Brazil to win. However, I always see through the journey who is somehow getting there. For example, I love support small teams that never won before, or teams that somehow they are doing something great, and I start to appreciate that, and I start to support them. So I think it's a big event. Next question for you is, before the next question, tell me 3 names of 3, let's say, people that in the maybe martial arts, or maybe in the fitness industry, or maybe that you always be inspired by, or for you always being a big inspiration in your career? There is someone that you could share 3 names?
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably the best way to go through that would be going through kind of the mentors that brought me here would probably be the
Okay.
biggest things.
Okay.
So I guess the first one would probably be the guy that sort of introduced me to personal training, introduced me to strength and conditioning, and showed me kind of what that world was. Would be one of my college lecturers, Chris Simpson. So I mean, all my other lectures were great. I think I literally went through every lesson in college and enjoyed every moment of the people I was with. I never had an issue with any college lecturers, but Chris simply stands out because he's the one that introduced me to personal training. He's the one that introduced me to strength conditioning, and ultimately kind of just put me forward into that position to put me in a good place. Another one, I suppose, would be once I got to uni. Again, it's a similar situation. Once I got to university, this guy then showed me the world of strength conditioning, but more specifically for fighters and combat athletes. I worked alongside him. He actually introduced me to the world of physiology and learning about how physiology worked to then make me realize I probably chose the wrong course and should have went for sports science. But so that guy was called Andrew Usher. I learned a lot from him. He was a great guy. Again, I've always tried to make an opportunity or find an opportunity to somehow be involved with them still, but we're all so busy and we've all got so many things
Yeah.
going on. So they're like the two key. Again, everyone at uni, I got along with all the lecturers. They all helped me really well. I never had an issue with any of them, but he only stands. He wasn't even a lecturer, actually. He was doing his master's degree at the same time as me doing my degree, but I'd done my placement with him, and I learned so much with him, and he opened my mind with quite a lot. And then I guess, so they're kind of college, uni, and then out in the world, I mean, it's kind of hard because I've had a big sort of mentality of like, I don't listen to one person. I listen
Totally.
to everyone and
Yep.
then provide my own opinion is kind of the way I've always looked at it. So it's kind of interesting because even these two mentors I've mentioned, sometimes they had conflicting advice that I'd been given, and it's like you kind of just bring your own thing out of it. But to
Totally.
just throw a total left out there, to throw a total curveball left, to go into the combat sports side of things, I think sort of one of my biggest sort of inspirations has always been Georges St-Pierre. Don't know if you know Georges St-Pierre, French Canadian. So he was like the welterweight champion for a very long time, and it's such a strange thing to see someone so violent and so aggressive be so calm and nice. And I like watching his videos, his mentality, how he does things, and just kind of ultimately like my biggest inspiration from him was he was a karate guy and
Mm-hmm.
he never knew, and he came from his whole thing came from bullying. He wanted to beat the bullies back. That was his story. But his biggest thing was he never learned to wrestle until he started doing MMA, and then he
Okay.
ended up being considered to be one of the best wrestlers in MMA, even though he started really late in life in the MMA. Obviously, he had the striking side, but just to kind of throw a left out there, I would definitely say, within my fight career, he's definitely someone I look up to. This guy, Bruce Lee's definitely another one as well. But there's many people I've encountered in life that have sent me, and it's not that they send me in different directions. It's almost they provide small pieces. I've always said that it goes back to Bruce Lee's saying of Jeet Kune Do was take what's useful, discard what's useless. And that's
Mm-hmm.
ultimately kind of how I kind of move forward in life is like, you as yourself, you probably have opinions. I go, that's amazing. I really agree with that. But then there'll be one point that you'll make and go, actually, you know what? I don't like that. But see that thing you did say, I'm going to take that and leave the rest rather than taking your word for gospel. And that's the way I see it. And anyone I encounter in life, I'll go, that's good. That's good. But that thing you said was rubbish. I'm not going to listen to that. But you gave me
Totally.
two good pieces of advice. And I bring that together from so many people. And ultimately, it provides my own output in life, basically, in whatever the situation is.
Agree, and I think this is healthy to think this way. Sometimes we admire people, we agree with their opinion, but sometimes they have other opinion that we don't agree, and it's okay with that. There's no right or wrong with that. It just for us, as you said, you take the good or the thing that apply for you for your life, and the other is not for you. It's okay. You just got something from that person. You learn every day. That's how I say as well. All right. Next question is: which bad habits wish you could stop?
I've got a sweet tooth. Do I want to stop that though? I don't know if I'd want to stop that. Yeah, I would say that would probably be a big thing. I've got quite an evening sweet tooth. That's definitely a bad habit.
Same me, same here. Bad.
Yeah, it's an evening. And
Yeah.
and this is why I relate so well with my clients, because people come to me expecting me to have all of the answers, but in reality, I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out with them and providing my own experiences. Like that's how my kind of life has gone, my journey in this career has gone, is I'm providing my experience. But just because it worked for me doesn't mean it works for everyone. Do you know what I mean? And I have situations, like I said to you, now that the fight's over and there's no goal, all of a sudden I'm eating whatever I want. I'm all this cheesecake and all these things just to kind of like, because I can. But to say to stop it, do I want to stop that? I don't even know if I'd want to stop that, to be honest.
You just
Um,
want to balance, to be more.
yeah,
Yeah. Which
I've got
what's
a lot
your
of time for food. Yeah,
what's your guilty pleasure dessert that for you is like you could eat,
it's
you could
chocolate.
indulge, you could indulge yourself.
It's just chocolate, just any kind of chocolate, just
Yeah.
chocolate. Yeah, just chocolate. Unless it's calendar chocolate, like cheap calendar chocolate, that can go away. But other than that, like chocolate, like any. I know Cadbury's have gone downhill a little bit recently with their palm oil and stuff like that, but chocolate, yeah, cheesecake, chocolate cake. My wife makes a devil's cake, which it's just glistening. It's glistening with chocolate, and it's so sickening to eat, but you just eat more of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a sugar spike, isn't it? It's a trigger. I
Yeah.
talk about that with my clients as a trigger.
Yeah.
So my trigger's a wafer, something wafery, like a Kinder Bueno, a Kit Kat, a caramel wafer. So that's the thing that sets me off. I'll have one and it's like, okay, the floodgates are open. How many more can I have, basically? Some other chocolates ain't so bad, some other things, but if it's a wafer, like a Malteser as well, anything crunchy, just that sets me off. It's a big thing. So sometimes, and shops get you as well, because if you want to buy one, it costs 90p, but if you want to buy four of them, it costs £1. And so you're going to
Of
buy the
course.
four of them, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? So,
Of course. It's exactly that's the way it's actually wrong. If you take just one piece, but we somehow our brain it works this way. Why not take for £1 more? You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
saving money.
yeah, money, yeah.
Two questions left. Let's do it. You like dancing?
I'm a bit rigid, I'm a bit stiff.
Before the next question, of course, I'm sure through your career as a fitness trainer, you have some situations that you're not going to forget, that, could be a feedback of a client, could be something through your journey. Tell me something, a moment so far that you hold close to your heart, something that maybe happened to you through a session or through your studies. Could be anything that you go like, you know what, this moment's always going to be remarkable for me.
That's maybe a hard one. I don't know if there's maybe not enough to remember, if there's too many to remember. To try and pin that down. Maybe not so much to hold close, but like I've had clients who've come in with like many different like conditions and diseases and stuff like that I kind of deal with and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say there's necessarily a specific situation where I go like, okay, I hold that close to my heart, or I hold this to here. Like I've had so many amazing clients come through the door, and some have stayed with me for years and years. So it'd be really hard to kind of sort of pin down like a certain moment that stayed with me. I would say the biggest thing would be the clients who do stay with me is probably a thing for me. I guess that retention of like knowing that someone actually trusts their time and effort and money to put into me. Like I've got two clients who are currently, or one client who's with me who's probably been with me, I would say over 4 years now. She's been with me,
Wow.
and it's not that she's never reached her goal. She reached her main focus 2 years ago, but it's the fact that she's still willing to put her trust into me to move on to the next thing. And there's another guy who's almost at that 4 year. He's probably just over the 3 year mark, and he does the same. So I think the biggest thing that stays with me, rather than a specific moment, would probably be the fact that damn, people pay me money and then stay with me for this amount of time, and they trust me to help them and to stay with them, and ultimately it does become a friendship where I just get paid to help them, basically. Like, you know what I mean? So it probably wouldn't be it wouldn't be a specific moment. It would probably be like that idea of that people or willing to stay with me that long, and it's like, okay, maybe I am good at this, maybe people do trust me that I can stay on here and actually do this with people.
Amazing, very good. Okay, next question is there a moment you think of that you made realize that you have made it in life?
Again, I guess it would kind of reflect back to kind of work. Like, I guess I made it in life when I actually there's probably two avenues on how this would go. I guess avenue one would be to know that I have had one love, and it's been the only love. Like from the first love has been the last love, basically, is how I see that. 14 years old, two kids, we've moved houses 3 or 4 times, we've got the issues with our kids. I would say that amongst all the hardships, to know that I've made it is to know that we're still here together. Like
Amazing.
that's to know that I've made it. The other the other avenue of that, I guess, would be the more business wise, would be kind of what I've already explained. Like, damn, like, people actually pay me money to do this thing that I've spent so much time doing, and they stay with me for 2, 3, 4 years. Some less, and that's fine. But people value me as a person and as a service to pay me money to help them in their life. And then
Totally.
when I see the results of these people, I kind of go like, you know what, like that's actually a really big thing to be able to do that for people, to be able to, like, whether it's about, obviously, we're all here in the end to better ourselves in money and wealth and stuff like that, and that obviously helps me do that. But I can just, my wife can just say like, oh, next Friday we're doing this, and I go, okay. I don't need to ask to take a day off work. I just take the day off work. I just go, okay, I've got no clients booked in that day, so I'm just going to take the morning off. We'll go do that thing, or like 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, or whatever. And I'm like, I can do that. Like, I can just do that at will, basically. There's small margins I can't do that, but mostly I can do that if I wanted.
Wow. Petrie, it's so beautiful to talk about your long relationship. I have a very good friend of mine back in Brazil. She met her husband now. Both of them, they're good friends, very close friends, and they met each other when they were 13-year-old. Actually, I remember the time when they met. We were still at school, and people, they were like, oh, about them. And, they've been for a long journey. They've got 3 kids, and those stories, it happened. I know, it's difficult to find, people they met so young and somehow they're still navigate together. It's beautiful to see. And you just said it's your first love, it's your last love, and it's beautiful to see that. And when I talk to my friend as well. Actually, I'm gonna go to see her next month. I'm flying to Brazil next month, and I can't wait to see her because we have good connection, and I love the story. That they navigating together, and they still, like you, they went through tough situations as normal. It to go is not easy. It's not always blue skies, flowers and everything. However, it's beautiful to see. I think it's beautiful to see, people together when they meet so young, they still navigating together through life. I think it's great to see. Amazing. Congratulations for sure. Last question, ready? Let's do it. Last question. Okay, but before the last question, parents or people watching this interview right now, if they would like to connect with you, or if they would like to somehow get to know more about your job that you provide, what's something about it that stands out?
I would definitely say, first things first, this is lived experience. Like that's the main thing. Like, this isn't just I found this information in my PT course with some research, so this is why I'm telling you to do it. I'm telling you to do this because this has come from lived experience, either from the past or currently living in. And it's always very person first. Like, a big thing about what I do is, like, it's not just, and I know this is such a cliche thing to say, but it's not cookie cutter, cut and paste templates that I give people. Like, it very much is. Of course, there's a scale in there for many different kind of people, but it is a very person first approach. Like, you don't just pay me money and we'll go, here's your program. We'll kind of do what we're doing right now. Like, we'll sit on a Zoom call for an hour, talk about how we can help each other, and I will tell you right at the end of that, actually, I don't think this will work, or actually, they might not think it'll work, and I go, cool, well, that's why we did this. So it's a very person first approach from lived in experience, and I think that's what a lot of the world is missing now, especially with AI. Don't get me wrong, I use AI. I still use a lot of AI. ChatGPT is one of my best friends, right? You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
everything that I do and everything I say is still from me. It's still my lived experience. It's still things that I've done, things that I've seen, things that I've been involved in. Any of this, and I think that's what helps me stand out more. Is there's like an authentic sort of person there that you're going to be meeting as a coach, rather than someone who doesn't understand your life. That's why I'm helping parents. That's why I'm trying to reflect myself into my clients, because who else can I help more than help myself? If I can't help myself, how am I going to help other people?
yeah,
So I know how to help myself. So if you're in a similar situation to me, I know how to help you, or at least I can guide you in that sort of direction.
I see. All right. Last question for you is, what did you want to be growing up?
A fighter. I mean, I think I'm pretty much. It was always a fighter. I think there was a sort of margin between a fighter, sort of skateboarder, something along that kind of thing. But I think I would say the first serious thing I ever thought about is when I was younger was I wanted to be a fighter. I remember being so this is probably not something to admit growing up, but my favorite movie as a child was Fight Club, the one with Brad Pitt, Edward Norton. I must have easily been 6 years old watching that every day. I definitely shouldn't have been watching that every day. I don't think I understood the twist in that movie until I was about 13 years old. But
Wow,
that movie kind of like really inspired me to be like, I don't know what it was. Like, I'm sure there's some deep rooted trauma there somewhere. Right? You know what I mean? But I watched that movie and there was that. There was Enter the Dragon. I remember watching that so many times with Bruce Lee. And I guess there was a few other movies thrown in there, but I would say they were the sort of first two movies where I was kind of like, man, that's cool. Like, I want to be like that. And then eventually I started learning about actual combat sports, going into UFC. So yeah, I would say a fighter. Although I've maybe not lived the career as a fighter as I thought I would, I've still lived some form of it. I've still had fights in front of a crowd, people paying money to come and watch it. You know,
wow,
living that experience. Like I had 6 kickboxing fights, and 5 of them took place in a cage. 5 of them were in a cage, so it's a real
wow.
experience to be. The lights are on you. Everyone's focused on you. Like so, although I've not lived it to the expectation I always thought I would. Because as a kid, I thought I was going to be in the UFC. Obviously, I thought I was going to be UFC champion. Like we all think of that when we're young. And although of course I'm not there, I've still lived a part of that. Do you know what I mean? So
Amazing. And what jiu-jitsu or what martial arts has taught you so far?
um what has martial arts taught me so far? So I'm quite a passive combatant, I would say, and I guess I don't know what it's. I would say it's discipline. I would say it's like a
Hmm?
big thing about martial arts. I would say is not crumbling under the pressure, staying composed. That
Yep.
just because something is becoming difficult, you don't have to become rigid and blow out all your energy and stressing over. And although this is maybe a bit of a hypocrite, my wife's probably going to watch this. I think that's a total hypocrite thing to say because I do that anyway. But is ultimately there's a part of me that's like, okay, like when you end up under pressure, you're not panicking. You know what to do. Like you know how to get out of this. You've trained this every day, and I kind of put that into life. So again, with the laptop, again, I know I keep referring back to the laptop situation, but in the moment, I was kind of like, oh no. But I got through it, and in the end, I stayed composed, and I'm like, okay, actually, something better has come out with that. So I would say, yeah, being composure, keeping composure through difficult times has probably been the biggest lesson from that.
Have you forgiven your laptop yet?
Yeah, yeah, it's still working, and we're still on this call, and nothing's broken yet. So
I'm glad to hear that you've forgiven him. Amazing. I love it. Right, not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to say some words. Just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with money,
pounds,
family,
children,
fear,
red,
okay, life,
death,
love,
compassion,
religion,
unsure.
sex.
I would say love, but you've already said that. Great.
Great. I like that. Great. Religion. Oh, sorry. I said religion. Sorry, sorry. I even got confused now with your great. Politics,
Oh, that's hard. Bollocks.
friendship,
Close.
desire, chocolate. I'm joking.
Want.
Okay. You want chocolate? Regret,
Um, hmm. My mind's just gone blank on that. Regret. I can't even think of the first. It's meant to be a first word that pops to your head, and no words have popped to my head.
good.
Let's say, forgive.
Did you look into your AI best friend or not? I'm
No,
joking.
no,
No.
I just looked up into the sky.
Good.
No, my AI friend's here in front of me, not up here.
One word for success.
Success. Progress.
One word for wish.
For wish.
Yep.
Coin.
Happiness.
Success. I don't know if I said that already on another one.
It's okay, no problem. Can repeat. One word for Scotland.
Freedom.
Beautiful. One word for martial arts.
Competition.
One word for jiu-jitsu.
Brazilian.
Oh, wow, I like that. And the last one now, coaching or fitness coach, one word.
Love it.
Beautiful. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your wife for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, define Petrie in one positive and one negative word only. What she'll say about you?
One positive and one negative about me.
Yeah.
So the negative would definitely be some word or form around overthinking or overthinker or something. I would say something
Yeah.
around there. Positive, I would hope she would say funny.
What's your star sign astrology, Pete? I don't know if you believe in astrology. What's your star sign?
I don't really follow it, but mine's Gemini.
Gemini. Okay. Let's play now Petrie and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. I'm playing Brazilian music.
All right.
Right, so before you ask me the question, of course, since the beginning of the interview, you already shared a picture between you and your wife. You already mentioned that tomorrow you're going to be celebrating your 5 years wedding anniversary. You know, through the interview, you shared so many times the love you have for her, how she meant a lot for you. Okay, so she's watched this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say she's watching?
I mean, she knows this, but obviously that I love you, and every time we have a hardship or a moment, I know that we'll get through it because we trust each other and we trust that, you know, we'll both do the right thing in the end. And we know that this works because we don't want to be anywhere else in the world other than by each other's side.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Amazing. I love it. Okay, Peter, can I ask me a question now?
Okay. I have thought about this, by the way. I have actually thought about this.
Oh my God,
What
scary.
What's one piece of advice that you've been given? I know that sounds cliched so far, but bear with me. What's one piece of advice that you've been given that at the time it made no sense and you ignored it, but later down life, that piece of advice came back to you and made all the sense and actually helped you?
What a great question. What a great question. When you said a bit piece of advice, I was going a lot of direction, but now that you made more clear, something else came to my mind, and I'll tell you straight away. As you know, we learn through life. A life is a holocaust. A life is a college that you graduate every week or every day, every month, every year. There's always something to learn about it. You know what, Peter? I remember as a teenager back in Brazil, or even start my adult life, I remember I was being very, you say, talk about people. I love people as well. I was being curious about people. I love connect with people. I think the show here is the best place for me to be because it's all about people, and that's why I love a lot doing the show. And I remember at the time talking to friends and people around me, and they said something that at the time I literally didn't believe. They said, the older you get, your friend circles, become less and less, and friends, it become less friends. And I remember the time I was like, oh my God, of course not. I love people around me, and I'm sure these people are gonna be forever. I cannot see my life, without these people. I can picture those friends forever in my life. I was so wrong. I was so wrong. And again, I don't see it as a negative thing right now. I see this as a health thing because, people they just go in a different direction. It's sometimes not just because of me or them, or it's about life. You know what I mean? People, they make other friends. People, they make relationships. People make plans, and sometimes not even about, of course, sometimes there's some stress or some, let's say, argument of, it's normal, but if you think about it, it's not nobody's fault. It's just life telling you that, you are in a different level of your life. Other people are in a different level and they're just going different directions. You know what I mean? And it's not wrong with that. I know sometimes it's sad because you go like, oh, sometimes I miss this friendship or this person, but it's okay. I think it was right when it was at the moment. You know what I mean? So yes, it's something, Peter, that when sometimes I laugh at myself about that because when it happens, I go like, oh my God, Will, you're so wrong. And I literally was so wrong because I couldn't believe. At the time, I was like, no, those people are going to be forever in my life. I love them so much. They're so special for me. You know what I mean? But it's not about that. People they just change things, And other thing as well, I've learned just to complement that is new friends come along, new people come along, and you connect so dearly with them that it's a new relationship starting. You know what I mean? I realized that as well. At the same time that I've learned that your circle becomes less, at the same time as well, new friends come along and you connect the same way you connect with others as well. You know what I mean? So I think that is a life lesson that's literally, I'm so glad that's life. Even if life didn't show me, I would realize one day because that's life. You know what I mean? But at the time, it was really hard for me to believe or even to understand. And I don't remember, I'm sure I made a comment. I said, no, you're so wrong about that. You know what I mean? So yes, that's something. But I could tell you others as well. But this one is the first one that came to my mind. And I think actually for the last few years, I've been agree more and more with that. You know what I mean? That's it just become less. When I say that, sometimes not even because you follow with the others, just because you became, distant or, they went a different direction. And maybe if you call, if you talk, it will be fine. And actually, sometimes you can reconnect again and come back to the same place. That's, I believe. But don't put too much pressure on your shoulder. Just keep being yourself, keep living life, keep being your true self, and just let life do its job. You know what I mean? If they meant to come back, it will. If they meant to be even less your circle, it's okay. New people come, and you just need to trust the process and trust life. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my answer for you for sure.
No, I love that. I love that. It's good. It reminds me a little bit as well. Did you ever play like Xbox when you were younger or anything like that, or
No,
like?
actually, no,
So
never.
it just reminds me of like I remember seeing a meme about it, and it was talking about like you never know the last day you invite your friend to join a game because one day I had friends that I played Xbox with. I'd never met in person. I never knew them, but we played games together every day. And just one day, all of a sudden, we played the last game together, and nobody knew it. You just didn't know that was going to be it. All of a sudden, it just stops, and then you never hear from that person ever again. And you've probably shared so much with that person. You shared so much time with that person, and I think that happens in life as well. It's like, especially coming out of school, you see so many people through school and you go, oh, I like that person, he's great. And then as soon as you finish school, it's like, oh, do you remember that person that we used to speak to? It's like, it's totally, do you know what I mean? Like, you just never know when that last day is going to be. And I think
Right.
that's why, like, like I try to do this quite a lot, is like trying to make sure that your last moment with someone has never ended too bad. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it doesn't always go the way you want it to, like, it never does. But
Absolutely.
there's a lot of times I think about it where I've got people that are like, okay, I actually really enjoy this person's company. Let's try to make
Yeah.
it, if this is going to be the last time we speak to each other or see each other or whatever, like, because you don't know when that's going to be, whether, like you say, different directions, things happen, whatever goes
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it is that you've got so many friends in life and there's so many people that have been in your life and family members that you
As
didn't know
well.
that you didn't know that conversation you had, that was the last time you were going to speak to that person for weeks, months, years, ever, for whatever reason.
Totally. In saying that as well, Petrie, I'm so conscious as well that, for example, some friendships that we follow apart for different reasons, I was the one who made the mistake. I was the one, and I gave myself a hard time for a while. And after I realized, you know what, actually, you meant to make this mistake or you meant to do that, or maybe because now you understand, you see things a different way. Do you know what I mean? So when I say that, I don't put like, oh my God, it's all about them. They did it wrong. No, no, no. I somehow collaborate, you know what I mean, as well, for things to happen. So it's not about that. And being an adult and, living life and growing up, I realized that as well. But I don't give myself a hard time if in case I feel like I was the wrong one, or, you know what I mean? Because I didn't mean it. Even if it happened, it doesn't mean it didn't go well or whatever. So I think that's, I feel somehow you feel free about it. You feel you're just trusting life and you just need to understand that as well. Could be family members as well. Sometimes our closest for example, my best friend, you know, he's French. We are so different, and life put us together. We've been best friends for so many years. I'm the godfather of his first child, you know, 7-year-old, and you know, and it's again we had up and downs, and we still working together like a friendship. And I think people come, people go, or other people come and other people come back again. So I think you just need to trust everything. And if it feels good, it feels right, why not? You know what I mean? Just give the chance for whatever possibilities come on your way. So yeah, that's my answer for you. Amazing. Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, it was good. It's good to kind of connect. I know this is our third time trying to do it, fourth time trying to do
I
it.
love it. No, again, I love it. I think it's amazing. I think we meant to have this actually. We meant to have this interview today because tomorrow is a very special day for you. And see you talk so dearly about it. You literally made, you know, this interview be very special because of that. Amazing. You see, it meant to be today for sure. Maybe we were in a different mindset 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I think it's been so special for me to see this story that you've been sharing about your love to your family, your wife. And I think it's great to see someone very young and you know it already about that. That's beautiful to see. Before you go, Petrie, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
There's probably a few. I'm a quote guy, so there's probably a million I could throw in there.
Yeah.
But I guess one of the big ones that I've always sort of went by, there's a band that I listened to, a band called Architects, and they've had a whole album. The album was ridiculous on based on the point. That's not the point. The point is they said something in one of their songs that I've stayed by for a very long time that I've believed, and it's even mountains are road in the rain. And basically, the whole point of that is like a mountain is a big structure. A mountain is this massive, stable, strong structure. But with the persistent beating of the rain, it's rain's small. Rain, like, you know, a raindrop is very, very small. But because there's lots of them, over time, years, hundreds of years, that mountain does get smaller. So it's just, I guess that point of that quote is to just kind of say, like, no matter what you're going through, no matter what's happening, even mountains are road in the rain. Even this big structure, such as a mountain, with enough pressure, starts to take damage. So just know that you as a human can take that damage as well, because you aren't a mountain. But if a mountain is going to take the damage, it's okay for the human to take that. It's okay for you as a person. So yeah, even mountains are road in the rain. So just understand that when you're going through a hard time, like, that's okay. You can withstand that, because no matter how big and strong you are, enough pressure will break anyone, and it's okay to understand that. It's the problem is to not stay there. It's how you get out of that, the next phase, the reaction to that. It's how you come out of that. I know that kind of goes into a different quote, but ultimately that's the kind of process for that.
Amazing. Very good. I love that. Thanks again. Regards to your wife, congratulations for both of you. Enjoy your special day tomorrow. And we keep in touch. It was a pleasure to have you on the show, okay? Have a good night.
You too. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.